Now, Matt was telling me that you won the gold medal this past summer in Germany.
I did.
And just explain that experience and what it was like to win overseas.
Yes, sir. So that's also a little bit confusing to some people who don't know, because that's a whole different entity than collegiate shooting. So
Okay.
I'm blessed enough to compete for the U.S. national team for USA shooting. And so the past 2 years, I've been fortunate enough to be on the U.S. team, and I've gone overseas 5 times in the last 2 years, and it's just the biggest blessing. And then this past year, I went to Germany to compete in the Junior World Cup, and just everything clicked and came out on top at the very end. I was one of the top 6 to go into the final, and then I was one away from tying a world record to win. And I ended up winning the gold medal, but I was one away from tying a world record.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Schreiner University. It is time for another edition of TED Talks. I'm Ted Davis. I'm the one that hosts this every week, and we talk to interesting individuals here at Schreiner University. And today we're talking to Matthew Kutz, who is on the shotgun team here at Schreiner. And Schreiner has a real history of having success at the shooting sports, haven't they? Talk a little bit about that, and did that draw you to come here?
Absolutely. So in 2018 and 2019, Schreiner University won D2 in 2018 and then D1 in 2019.
Now that's national champion.
That was a national champion.
That's national champions with all the universities all over the country, right? Then
Yes,
it didn't matter divisions, right?
That was basically all the schools in the country that competed in shotgun sports. And so in 2018 they won D2, and then they said, hey, we can compete with D1 schools. And then they went up to D1 and then D1 the next year. And this is around my sophomore, junior year in high school. And so I knew I wanted to go to the next level with my competition. And so Schreiner University was the perfect fit for me. Small school. I came from a small town. It was just the perfect fit.
How many schools are there, you may not know that are Division III in every other sport, but are Division I in like one sport? Is that unusual?
I mean, yeah, it could be a little bit confusing. I know with shotgun sports, because I know we had an organization that we had it for 1 year. It was called the NCSSAA.
Okay.
And it was only happened last year. Now they already went out of business. So they did it classified on what your school was. So like Texas A&M was D1, and then we competed in D3, just like the NCAA sports. Yeah. But now we're going back to ACUI, which ACUI was always the organizer for the shooting sports for collegiate-wise. Yeah. And so you can pick before you shot which division you wanted your school to compete in. Okay. And so that's what we're going back to now. And
Division
so really,
I? Yeah. Okay.
Division I. So really just depending on what your school thinks that you can compete at the level.
Now, Matt was telling me that you won the gold medal this past summer in Germany.
I did.
And just explain that experience and what it was like to win overseas.
Yes, sir. So that's also a little bit confusing to some people who don't know, because that's a whole different entity than collegiate shooting. So
Okay.
I'm blessed enough to compete for the U.S. national team for USA shooting. And so the past 2 years, I've been fortunate enough to be on the U.S. team, and I've gone overseas 5 times in the last 2 years, and it's just the biggest blessing. And then this past year, I went to Germany to compete in the Junior World Cup, and just everything clicked and came out on top at the very end. I was one of the top 6 to go into the final, and then I was one away from tying a world record to win. And I ended up winning the gold medal, but I was one away from tying a world record.
Yeah.
So it was unbelievable. I mean, 2 years ago, I was dreaming of just being on a national team, and then just to see everything come to fruition was something special. And my mom was there. The rest of my team was supporting me the entire time, and then I won, and then I got back on my phone, and the time difference, Germany's 7 hours from here. Yeah. And I remember it was like 9 a.m. or 8:30 when I knew I was made the final. And so I put the link to the video in the final, and like a bunch of group chats that I had back here for just people back on campus to watch. And then I won, and then I got back on my phone and it was just blown up. I had a bunch of people back here watch, and it was just one of the best feelings ever.
Talking to Matthew Kutz, you're a senior now here? Are you
I'm a junior.
You're a junior.
I'm
okay,
a junior,
you got one
sir.
more year. Matthew Kutz is on the shotgun team and is very good, obviously. So where does this lead? Does this lead to could this lead to Olympic type stuff, or where does this go?
Yes, sir, for sure. Everything is basically a stepping stone to try to make the Olympic team. And so there's the junior Olympic team, the junior national team, the national team, and then there's world championship teams, the Pan American teams, championship of the Americas. And then basically everything is a stepping stone to try to get to the ultimate goal, which is the Olympic team.
Now, when are the Olympics held again that you could compete in?
So we had our first part of Olympic trials in May in
Okay.
Hillsdale, Michigan. And now we have our second part of Olympic trials in Tucson, Arizona this next March. And basically they combine the two scores. You shoot 250 targets
Okay.
plus finals. The top 6 make the finals. And then depending on how you finish in the finals, so if you get gold, you get 3 extra targets added to your score. Silver 2 and bronze 1.
Okay.
So basically they combine both scores from both matches, and then the top 2 make the Olympic team.
And where are the Olympics this time?
In Paris, France.
In Paris. Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
a great trip.
Yeah, 2024 is in Paris, which
Yeah.
would be amazing. And then 2028 is in Los Angeles.
Where did you get your interest in shooting? Where did this come from?
So it started at a young age for me. I was born in San Antonio, but I was raised basically my entire life in Goliad, Texas, which
Okay.
is a small rural town about 2.5 hours southeast of here.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a country town. And so I feel
Yeah.
like growing up, you're kind of just raised, with the background of hunting
Yeah.
or dove hunting, something like that. And around 3rd grade, I was put in 4-H, which is the organization just took to build leadership roles
Right.
in, the country,
Right.
and youth. And shotgun was an aspect of it. And in 3rd grade, my mom and dad decided, let's try this out. And so I did it. I wasn't really fond of it to begin with. I was little.
Yeah.
I was really little as a kid.
Yeah.
And so, holding a shotgun and all that really didn't seem interesting to me. They made me keep with it. And then I got better and better.
This is kind of
Kept
like
with
piano
it.
lessons.
Oh, yes. For sure.
Except different.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then basically I just kept going at it all the way through, upper elementary, middle school,
Yeah.
high school. And then around sophomore year, I found out about USA Shooting. And I found out that you can make a national team. You can make a junior national team. You can make the Olympic team. And I was like, I want to give this a try. And I remember because Hill Country Shooting Sports Center out here in Kerrville, they have 5 Olympic trap fields.
Okay.
They used to be a Olympic training facility.
Huh.
And so I went out there, and my first shots ever on Olympic trap range was out here in Kerrville.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good at it. I was like, you know what? I talked to my mom and dad, and I was like, I want to pursue this.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want to do. And then just a lot of hard work, and I know it sounds cliche, but really a lot of blood, sweat, and a lot of tears.
A lot of practice.
Yeah, a lot of letdowns before I made a team. And then about a year and a half, 2 years after I started, I made my first team.
So was that the point where it really clicked in terms of you realizing I am really good at this?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I had success in, the American games.
Mm-hmm.
So, American skeet, American trap, sporting clays. I had success in that in high school. But then whenever I started doing the international thing, something just clicked.
Yeah.
And I was really successful at it. And, I won my first 2 international matches in the States because they have – it's international shooting because it's shot all over the world, but they have matches inside the United States too.
Yeah.
The first 2 matches I went to, I won.
Okay.
And that's kind of when it clicked, and I was like, I could be successful at this.
All right, talking to Matthew Kutz, he's on the shotgun team here, and could go to the Olympics, could represent Schreiner at the Olympics. That'd
That's
be
the
really
goal.
cool. So what's the key to being a good shot? Obviously, you've got to have good aim, good eyesight. You have to have breath control. You have to have all these parts come together. What's the most important part?
I think the biggest part about being a successful shooting athlete, and a lot of people don't realize, is the mental side of things.
Okay.
You can be physically gifted at shooting. You can just be a natural gun pointer. But, if you don't have a good mental game, you're not going to go far, because shooting sports is 90% mental. Everyone says it's 90% mental and 10% physical.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things that can go wrong when you're shooting. And if you let that creep in and you let that get in, the little back thought, it can mess everything up. And so I believe the biggest part of being a successful shooter is being able to have a strong mental game, for sure.
So you talked about shooting at the targets. Is this a stationary thing, or do you have moving targets, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, yes sir. So with Olympic trap, that's what because there's Olympic trap and Olympic skeet. I shoot Olympic trap.
Okay.
And so there are 5 stations and then 6 shooters. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's another 6 spot behind 1. So there's 6 shooters in the round, but there's 5 stations total.
Okay.
And then in front of each station is a microphone. And so whenever you call for the target on your station, there's 15, and then people refer to Olympic trap as bunker in the United States because in front of you is literally a bunker. It is a bunker in the ground, and inside are 15 machines with clay targets inside. Okay. And so there are 3 machines for each station. So there's 15 total. So basically, when you get to a station, there's going to be 3 machines that are that could throw. There's going to be 2 left targets, a straightaway, and 2 rights.
No, you have no idea which one's.
You have no idea which
is
gonna come out. You have no clue. And so basically, you shoot a round of 25. A 25 is 1 round. 25 targets in 1 round. And so, just do the math. So 5 targets for each machine, or 5 targets for each time you go to a station for 25 targets. Yeah. And so you shoot. When you're done shooting, the person to the right of you shoots, and then you can move to behind them. And then you basically just do that until you get to every single station 5 times.
Okay. So how many do you hit successfully on average? I'm talking about.
Around 23, 24.
Of 25?
Out of 25.
Wow.
That's the goal. It's extremely hard. I mean, it is. Olympic trap is considered the hardest shooting discipline.
Yeah, because you don't know which angle they're coming out.
You don't know which, and there's different schemes. So there's 9 different schemes that you program it to, and each single scheme has different angles. Wow. So it could be all high, lofty targets going up higher,
or flat.
Or it could be all hard 45-degree angles. Yeah. And you don't know
until they're out there, and you have to react quickly. Yep. And hit a moving target.
Exactly.
And you can do it like 23 of 25 times.
Yes. And it's extremely hard. Like my personal best out of 125 is a 121, which is
you had 121 really out of 125,
which is really good. That's a really, really good score. Like if you put up a 121 anywhere, even like in the Olympics or like a World Cup, World Championships, you most likely will make a final.
Wow. Do you have to have great eyesight for this? Is this like a Ted Williams thing when he had like 20/10 eyesight when he was hitting the baseball? Does that help?
Having good eyesight is definitely a plus. I mean, it takes a lot of focus in your vision to see these targets, especially because in Olympic trap, the targets are going 65, 70 miles an hour. Wow. And so, you have to have really keen eyesight to see these targets as fast as you can, but also be able to, calm yourself. Yeah. Like don't overreact to the target. Like it's coming out really fast, but that doesn't mean you have to be super fast. It's a lot of training. It's a lot of training with the eyes. It's a lot of training with your mental game. The physical aspect of it. I mean, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I can tell. Matthew Kutz is on the shotgun team, and so do you use your own gun? Do they provide the guns? Do you have a favorite gun that you like to use?
I do, yes, sir. Mostly everyone in shooting. I know, like when you're younger, like in 4-H, a lot of clubs will loan guns to shooters because most of the time they're just starting, and not everyone will have a shotgun to use. So like youth clubs will most likely lend guns. But whenever you get up into like the Olympic shooting side of things, most people, if you're serious enough about it, you'll put aside the funds to buy a shotgun. I use a Comuzzie. Okay. It's an Italian gun, and the company has won the most Olympic medals out of any shotgun. It's a really high end shotgun, and they have really good track record of winning. And so that, like, we had that custom made to me, like the stock and everything, like it's fit to me, like it is mine. Yeah. And so
like it's part of your body.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a third limb. It really is. And, so yeah, I shoot a Comuzzie, and it's called a Comuzzie MX8, and it's, treated me very well. I actually got it at the beginning of this year in March, and then 3 months later I won the World Cup in Germany. So it's really cool.
What's your major here?
Marketing with a minor in sport management.
Now, when you graduate, could you take what you've done here and get into a business and continue your shooting interest?
Yes, sir, for sure. I mean, a big aspiration for me, like I said, half of me wants to go into the shooting industry, stay in there, because I mean, if you stay in the shooting industry and like, let's say you make your own business out of it, you can make your own hours. And so you can go shoot. I can go shoot whenever I want, go to competitions. Even if I'm still working for a company, the owners or whoever is in the boss, they'll understand. Yeah. Especially if you're competing at a high level, they'll understand. And then that other half of me is still toying with the whole, going into sports and maybe be like like a speaker or something like the marketing department in a sports team. Yeah. It's half and half.
Yeah. So, and you're a junior here, right? So
I am a junior.
Yeah.
So I still have another year.
Yeah. Interested in sports broadcasting, you told me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I know I've told Matt that too, and he's going to try to help me out with that a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're going to see where that goes. I mean, I've always had an itch for, being in front of a microphone or in front of a camera and talking to someone.
I can tell you're very well spoken. And
thanks.
Yeah.
And talking to, just people, especially in sports. I mean, I'll be watching an NBA game or NFL game, and I'll be like, in my head, I'll be thinking about, I'll be looking at like a coverage or something in football, and I'm like, they're about to run this play. Or I'll be watching basketball, and I'll be like, oh, they're in a 3-2. And like in my head, it's just like, I want to talk about it out loud.
Yeah. Was your dad interested in shooting, and that kind of led to what you did? Or was this something that you just kind of took up on your own?
It was something I kind of just took up, to be honest. I mean, my dad and my mom, they're my biggest supporters for sure. But I mean, they never really had.
What were their names? Say because they want to see this.
Glenn and Dana. Glenn and Dana Kutz. Yeah. Yes. So, just growing up, I mean, they were both raised in Marion, Texas, and so that was very rural agriculture town. And so I mean, they hunted and stuff, but like they never shot clay targets ever.
Right.
And it's just something that they put me in at a young age, and they were like, "We just want you to get involved." Like I said, at third grade me wasn't really like, okay. Yeah. I was just like,
whatever.
I kind of have to.
Yeah.
And so, they just put me in it, and I stuck with it, and I give all my thanks to them.
And so, again, what's next for you? What's your next competition?
Next big competition would be the second part of Olympic trials in Tucson, Arizona in March.
In March, okay.
In March.
And that's one more step to getting to the Olympics.
The Olympics, yes, sir. And the top two make the team right now. I'm sitting in 8th.
Yeah.
And this also selects, there's a lot of selections. And so this selects the Olympic team, the national team, and then the junior national team.
Yeah.
And so I'm obviously going for the national team. I'm in a good spot for that. The top 6 make the national team, and I'm like a target or 2 out of the top 6 going into the next match. And then it also selects the junior national team. And so basically they're going to take our score from May in Michigan from the first part, and then, like I said, they're going to add it to the second part in Tucson. And then that's going to pick the Olympic team, the national team, and the junior national team. And I'm sitting really good, especially for the junior national team. Fingers crossed, because if I make the junior national team in March, then we will be traveling to Porpetto, Italy for a Junior World Cup, and then Lima, Peru for Junior World Championships next year. And so just fingers crossed, I'm in a good spot for that.
And if you do well in each of those, that'll get you closer to the Olympic team.
Yes, everything's just a stepping stone, just experience.
Well, and you're seeing the world too. You're going to some neat places.
I mean,
you've been to Croatia. Well, what's your favorite place to go to so far?
Let's see. I've been to Germany twice, Croatia, Morocco.
Okay.
And then in July, right before we moved in, I was in South Korea. I think overall the best experience I've had, it's probably in Germany.
Okay. We had a player, Tony Kukoc, on one of my teams who was from Croatia, and he was from a town called Split. And he said it was right on the ocean. It was beautiful. Is Croatia a beautiful place?
We went to the Far East. We were in Osijek, Croatia, which like Zagreb is like on the far right, like kind of on the coast, where the beach would be. And we drove from Zagreb 5 hours to the other side of Croatia to Osijek, which, I mean, Croatia just got out of a war not that long ago.
Yeah, I know.
And so, I mean, we walked around the town and it was still riddled with like mortar fire and bullet holes.
Yeah.
Like the hotel that the parents stayed in, on the outside was just a big hole.
Wow.
And it was from like a mortar fire.
Yeah.
And so the town, don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah.
They were very welcoming of everyone. But I mean, it was very obvious that something had happened.
Yeah.
And so beautiful city, but I mean,
A history
kind of a
there.
sad history.
Yeah, kind of a sad history
For
there.
sure. But yeah, no, back to what going back to what you said, I think Germany overall was probably my favorite experience this year because, I mean, beautiful, food's amazing, the weather's nice, and then, you know, the whole aspect of winning was amazing.
Winning helps.
Winning did help. But then South Korea was also incredible.
Yeah.
Can't really put that into words. That was an unbelievable. I didn't shoot how I wanted to at all, excuse me. And that was coming off of Germany too. I had really high expectations, and so that honestly was kind of my downfall there. But you know, you live and you learn, and I learned a lot from there. But I mean, I can't say enough about South Korea. It was beautiful, beautiful, and everyone was really nice. Food was amazing.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
We're all pulling for you here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we've been talking to Matthew Kutz out of Goliad, right?
Goliad, Texas.
Goliad, Texas, and he's on the shotgun team. He's obviously very good, and we hope he does well in your next competition. Good to meet you, young man.
You too. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Thanks for Matt. Thanks to Schreiner
Matt.
Outfielders for setting up our props here. Thanks to Matt for keeping us on the air. I'm Ted Davis. This is TED Talk. See you next time here at Schreiner University.